Okay, this is on section 3.7 on graphical representation of identities. Okay, and so far all we've gone through is the 8 fundamental identities, and we've gone through proving the left side equals the right side, doing that algebraically. Okay, now the author is going to take you through doing it graphically. Now, I will tell you on some of these, on the graphing ones, some of these do not work. Okay, so they will give you the directions. It will say verify graphically whether or not this is an identity. You could do it algebraically, but they're asking you to do it graphically. And the first one they do, you should recognize sine of x over cosine of x equals the tangent of x. Okay, and they might write theta in the book, but we're going to use x because of the calculator. Okay, now the way I want you to do this is I want you to take on the calculator and graph the left side in y sub 1. Okay, so we're going to graph this in y sub 1. Okay, now you need to make sure you're in radian mode. We should still be in radian mode. And probably zoom Trig to start. Okay. So we want to do sine of x, close the parentheses, divided by cosine of x, and close the parentheses. Now, if I ask you to write this on the test, write it the way it appears on the calculator. So you'd say sine of x, and we close the parentheses. The division sign's not horizontal on the calculator. It looks like this on the calculator, and cosine of x. So that's what appears in y sub 1. Okay, and then we're going to graph this in y sub 2. Okay, so put this in y sub 2. So tangent of x. So go down to y sub 2, put in tangent of x. Okay, and zoom Trig, zoom 7. Okay, and mine actually shows the asymptotes, and you should recognize that. We did that one earlier in chapter 2, the trig graph. If you were doing this on your paper, you got to make sure, and they do want you to draw the graph. Okay, you got to make sure you dash the asymptotes. Okay, so the solid part about the graph would be this. Tangent goes through the origin. Okay, and then there would be another asymptote over here. Dash that. Okay, and remember, tangent repeats every pi over the absolute value of b. There would be another one over here. Okay, now you need to take the put on the trace key on the top row. Put on the trace key. Okay, get off the asymptote or the origin. Okay, so get off the origin. Put that trace key on, get off the origin, and then so you're not right on the origin. Use your up and down arrow. Okay, look at the ordered pair down below. Okay, then you use your up and down arrow. Are we getting the same ordered pair? Yeah. Okay, so that's how you know, yes, I'm graphing. And if you look, you should have, when you put that trace key on, you should have these showing up. Anybody not seeing those? you should be able to see the expression. If you can't see the expression, it's above the zoom, go second function format. This is what's controlling that expression on or off. Okay? You want to see it on this though, so you know once you put, so now I'm on the first equation, I've got my ordered pair. Use your up and down arrow, I'm on the second equation, same ordered pair. So yes, this is an identity. So on this one, you only need one graph because it's an identity. If it's not an identity, okay, then you need two graphs. Okay. Okay. If I was doing this probably in a college class, I would actually hook up my graphing calculator and just have I shown you how to do that? No. On the graphing calculator, some of yours came with this cable. You can actually, in my net prep class, we actually made our own. We made it a little bit fancier. We actually put in a little LED red light so we could tell it was, you know, transferring back and forth. Okay. But you just hook it in like you do a regular graph link cable. Hook it up to a USB port. Okay. And it takes then the software, this is what the icon looks like down here. This, okay. And it's called TI Connect. This software is free. You can download it off of the internet. Okay. How many of you actually got this cable with your, did it not come with it? Yeah. If you've got it, I would find it and take it with you when you go off to college. So, and it takes a minute. Okay, once it figures out, and I basically did all I did down here was I did the screen TI screen capture. Okay, and then there is a copy, and then I can come back over into here, and you can take it into Word or whatever. So. A lot of college professors will say, okay, I don't want it just sketched. I want the graph off the screen. Okay, so that's how you can do that. And if it was not an identity, you would turn on y sub 1, graph that one. Remember to turn on an equation. It's the equal sign's dark. If I wanted to turn this one off and then graph this one, and you're going to end up with the same graph on this one. Okay, but these, you will get some that are not identities, so they will graph two graphs. So you're going to have to graph two separate graphs. Okay. Couple of things when you're putting in equations. One is there will be times where you have, like if I had say I had something like this. Say I had like 5 over 1 plus cosine of x. Okay. If that's a quantity in the denominator, you've got to know that you've got to put an extra set of parentheses. And I always count, if I have 3 left parentheses, then I have to have 3 right parentheses. They've got to match up. Okay. So if you end up with 3 lefts, then you got to have 3 rights. And usually, if the calculator says there's a syntax error or there's an error, it'll say quit or go to. You always want to go to, because the cursor usually ends up saying, here's where the error is. Count your parentheses. Okay. The other thing when you're doing the graphing is if we have something like this, sine squared x, well, the calculator won't allow you to put that in. Okay, because it's going to go sine parentheses. Okay, so you got to put in sine of x quantity squared. Okay, the squared's got to go on the outside. Okay, so if it was cosine, say cosine cubed x, like that. Okay, the calculator won't let you do that. So you got to. The calculator does this. So you got to close the parentheses. You got to know to start with the parentheses and then put the cube on the outside. Okay. Okay. I think that's pretty much it. Okay. So some of these, when you get to the graphing ones, some of these will not work. If they don't work, then you say it's not an identity and you must show 2 graphs. If it's an identity, then say yes, it is an identity, and you just need to show 1 graph. Okay. Okay, on the homework, there's one exception. You're going to work with the left side all the way down. Okay, the one exception up there is number 26. That one you can work with the right side all the way down. Okay.